Miata and welcome. My name is en-viss and my pronouns are they, them, and I have decided to rebrand before getting into my Flosstube journey too far. So what was known as Stitching Zenith is now known as Sleepy Goblin Crafts. I hope you're comfy. Let's get going. So I'm gonna try something else. My last video, I rewatched it and I felt I was way too technical. I am reading off of notes that I make beforehand just so that I have, I think I mentioned this before, just so that I have something to follow, so that I don't tangent along the way. Well, ultimately, a lot of what I do is tangent. I'm still going to be using notes to reference throughout the video. That's not going to change. I want to make sure that I am talking about everything. However, I want to try, I guess, a more freeform way of talking about things. Like if I do go into a tangent, like that's not the end of the world. So especially right now, queer voices are being erased and ostracized. I refuse to be afraid of people not liking me, not liking how I talk about things, what I talk about, because I'm too much, or I'm too weird, or too queer. So, with the rebrand to Sleepy Goblin Crafts, I'm going to try and embrace my more feral goblin nature. Not to say that this is like gonna be just chaos unfounded. I do like a little bit of order to things. However, I don't know how to describe it, but like I said, last time my video just felt too technical, too monotone. And that's not who I am as a person. Just reading off of a script and that's it. So, like I said, I have notes. I will reference them. But we're gonna be more loose and go with the flow. And I apologize for the squeaky chair I am sitting in. I didn't think about it before recording. I'm too lazy to go and try and find another chair because this chair right next to me is where I'm going to move everything once I'm done talking to them. So if you can hear the squeaky chair, you're just gonna have to deal with it. Let's start with finishes. I finished Hatshepsut. I finished this, a couple of weeks ago. Hang on, sorry, this is like crooked. Let me try and, yeah, there we go. This is part of the Stitch for Pride 2025 that is hosted and designed by D's 20 Stitches. The fabric is 18 count resistance by Mislaid Pages, and I'm using the DMC conversion. However, I did decide to use, I cannot remember what color this is. 831. I'll put it below what the actual color is, but I decided, again, I mentioned in the last video that for the motifs, I'm going to just probably find like a complementary color or a like analog color. Analog? I don't think that's the right word. Most likely a complementary color though, for any additional symbols or motifs in the pattern. So for the Ankh, I decided to go with a brassy gold, and I really like the contrast on this. So yeah, this did not take me long. So I am looking forward to seeing what March's is. The sneak peeks that Dee has shown looks like it's gonna be a dragon of some sort. So that's gonna be cool. And then my other finish, you guys remember how I said I was going to make sure I finish Mabon by the end of February. That would put me in a good spot. Well, apparently I don't know how to follow my own instructions and decided to finish Wheel of the Year. And I could not be more happy with it. Truly. This, let me get the bottom. This could not have turned out better. Mistakes and all. So this is Wheel of the Year from Magical Cross Stitch. That is by Lindsey Swearingen, also known as tuskandcardinal on Instagram. This was stitched on 16 count Lake Lanier by Witch's Garden Crafts in the Called for DMC. So it's actually, I don't know why I thought it was going to be more oval shaped, but I am now on the fence about if I want a oval frame or if I'm going to try and find a circular frame for this. I mentioned this before, but this is a birthday present for my mom. She is the one who really got me into witchcraft, and she taught me how to read tarot. So, and she's always talked about the Sabbats. Like growing up, I knew more about the Sabbats than I did like the I guess other more traditional holidays. Like obviously I knew Yule and Christmas were different, but I knew more. I had more knowledge about Yule than I did Christmas growing up. So I felt this was an appropriate cross stitch to gift her for her first present from me as a cross stitcher. I thought my favorite was gonna be Sew-In, but Mabon is actually my favorite. I love how that owl turned out. And I actually really like Llamas too, this one with the grains and the mushrooms, because from far away I really like how the darker stalks look. It gives it dimension. It's very fun. So yeah, this once I figured out my flow, this did not take me very long. So I loved working on this. This felt really good to work on. So I'm looking forward to doing more patterns from the Magical Cross Stitch book. I'll probably try my hand again at the Mushroom Misfortune once I figure out how I want to tackle that. There are a couple of other witchy patterns though that I might dabble in first. Not for a while though. There are some other, we'll go over that in plans because I have a order of operations, so to speak. So let's move into works in progress. Currently, my only work in progress that is not a new start is Nature Walk, Witching Hour. This is by Sprouting Lupine. I am stitching this on 14 count tarnished from Picture This Plus in the Called for DMC. Last time you guys saw this, I had only worked on this vine, part of this beetle, those leaves, and this moth. So the flower, this little bit here, I think, maybe you guys saw that one last. I think that was actually included last time. The slug, I love him. And the outline of this beetle. These are all new. And I would just like to focus your attention on the center flower, because when I first saw this pattern, I liked the color scheme enough to just want to do it. But when I started working on this, I was not sure really how I was going to like working on this flower. Something I was just, I don't know. I was like, I don't know if it was just how many colors were in the flower. I don't know. But because I started last time, I only had like the light petals on the outside done, and I worked out to in. And by the time, because I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but okay, yeah, you kind of can. So obviously there is this 3799, that's the gray. And then there's black, 310. But next to the black, like right here where my finger is, that is 154. That is a dark, like maroon color, which gives it the gradient look. I did not realize when I looked at the picture the first time that this was more than like 3 colors. Like I knew obviously there were 2 colors in the petals, and I knew that there was a darker color in the middle. But next to each other, the 310 and the 154, that gradient looks amazing. I love it so much. I can't, now that I've stitched it, I cannot stop staring at this damn flower. It is beautiful. Even though some of my stitches are not perfect in the flower, I love it so much. And I love that the slug is also the same color as the parts of the flower. Like this is the 154, and then this I think is 915. So it's like that darker color in the petal. Just love him so much. He's such a good little detail. So yeah, this is part of the Year in Nature Walk SAL that is being hosted by Linguistic Stitches on Instagram. The SAL itself technically is stitching one of the Nature Walk series a month. However, I'm not doing that. I was just doing like a motif a month basically. Obviously I've done more than 2 motifs. So this is gonna get done probably in the next month or so. Like if I can foresee myself finishing this by the end of March if I do decide to just put my mind to it, because I don't have much left. Well, I mean, I guess I actually do. I think I didn't look at how much I have left, like in terms of percentage, but this is as wide as it is. Like this beetle is like the furthest on this side, and then this is the, like this berry, these berries in this beetle is as far as it is on this side. And I think it comes down to like here-ish, because this slug is on a mushroom, and then there's like, I think vines and stuff, and another flower down here. I don't have the pattern in front of me, but so if I decide to stick to one motif a month for the rest of the year, I'm not going to complain. I just like stitching on this, so I'm not really in a hurry to finish it. I'm just enjoying working on it. So, but I did start this as part of that SAL. So it's comfy. And I mean, I say that I am stitching it 3/1, which I've realized I don't particularly care for 3/1 on 14 count. I like 2/1. The coverage isn't as different as I thought it would be. This is definitely more full, but when you view it at a distance, it looks almost the same. But I am going to finish stitching this 3/1. I just, going forward, I'm not doing that. which I realized that when I started my present for my mother-in-law, and excuse the hanging thread, I dropped my needle while working on it last night and I was not able to find it. So I just left it there. Don't tell Sean. He gets nervous when I drop needles. This is Robin's Spring. Let me put something behind it. This is Robin's Spring by Robin Pickens. I am doing this on 14 count country vintage cream. This is Zweigart. And I am doing it 2/1 in the called for DMC. And I'm really enjoying this. Like, this, compared to Wheel of the Year, this is a breeze to stitch on, quite frankly. I don't have, like, I've only miscounted a handful of times and it hasn't been an issue to go back and fix. So I mentioned this in my last video. The plan was to start with the border, and that's what I did. So I started with the flower motif here, which I actually really love, the tone on tone. Like, you can barely see it, but it pops just enough. And I was worried about the yellow. Clearly, I don't know my colors. I like the tone on tone for this white. But so I started here, and then I worked my way over, came back up and over, and then I worked my way up and over. And I worked on this tulip last night. But I just love how full this looks. It's very easy to stitch on. I'm probably going to get this done in the next in the next week, maybe 2, if I drag my feet on it. Because my plan today is to work more on this tulip. I'm going to bring down this here. I don't know what I did with the pattern. Here we go. This I have the pattern for. So I'm going to bring down the stem of the tulip, probably work in the leaves, and then start on this tulip. Get that done. And then finish those flowers. And I'll probably end with the robin. So, yeah. It's been really good. I really like working on this. It's a very comfortable stitch. I think the big blocks of color are really nice. I really like how bright the colors are, and it also helps that I'm working on a lighter colored fabric. So, but yeah, this will be done for my mother-in-law's birthday. I do have a frame that I'm going to be using for it. This was a gift, actually. My grandma had some stitching stuff that she gifted me recently, and this is one of them. It's a walnut frame, specifically for needlepoint. Ooh, I think it's because there's no glass. So, and it comes with a mounting board as well, which is very nice. So it's a 5x7, which is the perfect perfect size. I'm trying to I believe, hopefully, if it should be, at least. Might be a tight fit, but hopefully. I like how rustic it is, so hopefully that works out. So I will finish that in the next couple of weeks, just in time for her birthday. I should have clarified, that was a new start. I mentioned starting it in my last video because I had just gotten the floss for it or I was waiting for the floss for it, and that came like the next day. So that was a new start. This is also a new start. This is Lover's Promenade by Sprouting Lupine. I love this little orchid mantis so much. Look at her. Yes. I love it. The bleeding heart. There's more flowers down here. There's obviously, I think, a couple more over here. I'm not that far. I think I'm like less than 20%. But this is my first time stitching on 28 count linen, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. Like, holy shit. I get it. Linen snobs, I get it. The coverage compared to 14 count Aida is insane. Like, this is insane. I am doing 2/2 and 14 count Aida could never. Ooh, this coverage, like I said, insane. I thoroughly, I have not worked on this since I started it. This is actually, I take that back. I worked on this twice. I started with the green leaf, and then I moved into the body of the mantis. When I first started, I did not have, what color was it? Actually, it was this red. Was it this red? I mean, I haven't put in the color here in the body, which I did get, but I just haven't worked on it since I got that color. But when I first started, I put in the white in the mantis, and then I put in the light pink where the dark pink is, and vice versa. So I had to frog 2/3 of the mantis when I first started. And I was like, that's a bit of a bummer. But I persevered. We made it through. It's fine. It worked out. I don't think you can tell I frogged it. I mean, you can a little bit in like its butt, I guess. Oh. Yeah, not super. I don't know when I'm going to work on this next. Probably I'll pick it up at some point just to put progress in some of the plants and whatnot, but I definitely will be working on it at some point because this is really fun. I love it very much. Next is my Court of Crows start. This is a stitch along being hosted by Fine Frog Stitching, and I have a very, very, very small start. Like, I think some people, so they released the frames last Friday. Steph at Fine Frog, she released the frames on Friday, and we have, I believe, a month to get them done until the first part releases. Like, this is part 0, and part 1 releases like end of March, I believe. So I've got plenty of time. I'm not concerned. But some people already have these frames finished, and I am color completing. So this is being stitched on the recommended fabric, which is Caw from Witch's Garden Craft. I am stitching this on 18 count, and this is where I started. I am starting in the lower, I started in the lower right hand corner, and I made my way up. So this is the bottom right frame, this is the middle right frame, and then I have one of my stitches seems loose. I started working on the top frame, and you can kind of tell, maybe, I did make my way up and over, but then I realized I miscounted. I went too many, I went one over too many on this frame. So I had to frog about a quarter of the frame. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I guess that means I'm done. So this is where I'm at. I'm probably going to put some work into it this weekend. I would like to at least finish this frame, but I'm like on the fence of either color completing or working on a frame, finishing that frame, moving on to the next frame. So I think originally I wanted to color complete to just get the bones of it done, which, I mean, this is like bare bones, so there's not much to look at, which is fine. But I am very much looking forward to this stitch along. Steph showed a preview of one of the frames, and it's a little crow in a jester hat. I say no more. I saw that and I was like, oh yes, I made a very good decision signing up for this stitch along. My last start, I just started today because I said that I was going to start it in February, and god damn it, I'm going to start it in February even if it's the last day of the month. I started Pixel Prelude by Flossy Fox Shop. This took me an hour. He's just a little guy. I love him, actually. This is a smaller portion of Flossy Fox Shop's. They had, I think it was called the Adventure Sal, something like that. This is like a small portion of that Sal, with just like a couple of motifs from it. So it has this dragon, and then there's like a sword and like a book below it, and it's this cute blue to purple to pink like ombre effect for the outline. And I just he's very cute. You can actually kind of tell, like, even though it's just one color, you can kind of tell that it's like a creature. So I'm very pleased. This was just one length of floss. Like, I pulled a length of floss and I was like, I'm just gonna put as much as I can of the white into it, and once I'm done with this floss, that's my start. So I'd say this is a pretty decent start. When I looked in markup, it was 14%, I want to say. This is not that big of a pattern. This is like 200 stitches, so I mean, it's not that big of a pattern, and I'm done with the dragon. I'm done with the white of the dragon. Oh, I did not say. This fabric that I am stitching on is 14 count Sunset Charles Craft Aida. This is just literally left over from one of my first stitches that I did, Vaporwave Cemetery. That was a freebie by Bad Stitch. I used the same fabric for that. Let's move into haul. I have a little bit. I have a little bit. It's not that much compared to some, but as we are all acutely aware, Joann's is closing all of their stores. Not just the 500 of the 800. The company that purchased Joann's is a liquidator. So unfortunately, They're liquidating their stock. Nothing is staying. They're closing all stores. So I went to one of my local Joann's. I have 3 within like 30 minutes, and unfortunately, it's a bummer, but it is what it is, I guess. So I went and I decided to pick up some cross-stitch magazines. So I did sign up for just cross-stitch magazine, but I signed up after this had already gone out. So I didn't know if they would be sending me a physical copy of this or not. I didn't want to risk it because part of why I subscribed is for Nature's Journey. Again, another sprouting lupine design. Who would have thought? I love this so much though. Y'all, this is so good. Spring. Okay, can we just talk and look at how frickin' cute. We have a snail. We have these little mushrooms. We got this bee. We have robin eggs. More mushrooms. What kind of flower is that? They look like... I don't know what kind of flower that is. These look like snowdrops right here. The cherry blossoms on the branch. Actual genius designer. So the moment that someone was like, hey, look at this stitch along, it's sprouting lupine, I was like, well, I guess I have to subscribe. So I did. And then I looked through the rest of the magazine and I was like, oh, let's see what else they have. And I've just bookmarked a couple of pages. This is a really cute design, Beneath the Skeleton Moon. This is a design by artwork adapted for cross stitch by Le Petit Croix de Lucie. I probably mispronounced that. I'm sorry. So I flagged that to stitch, as well as one other. Let me see. Oh, I flagged this page for my aunt. I don't know when I will ever get around to stitching this, but my aunt has a love-hate relationship with gnomes. And I saw this and I immediately was like, oh, I need to save this because my aunt would lose her shit. Because gnome saying, awful pun. Absolutely garbage pun, but it's so funny. I love it. Personally, big fan. So I bookmarked that if for one rainy day I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna stitch it. So I bought this at Joann's. And then I also bought World of Cross Stitching, October 2024. And these were just ones that, these next couple were just ones that I grabbed that I was like, oh yeah, these have cute designs in there, so I want to stitch them one day. When? Who knows? Maybe never. But the possibility is there and the opportunity is there. So this is Jeweled Beauty, designed by Jenny Barton. Very cute. It has metallic and beads. So it's a neat little beetle design. It's a cute little guy. And then, Cheryl McKinnon of Tiny Modernist. She did this positive reminder series, which is literally just 36 smalls that have really like positive messages. I'm not going to show you all of them because not all of them are modeled. All of them are obviously in the magazine with their pattern, but not all of them are modeled here. So these are just really simple positive affirmations. And then also on this side as well, more positive affirmations. You've got this, you're amazing, mental health matters, that sort of thing. It's just nice as a reminder. And then the last one in this is Blackwork Magic, designed by Fiona Baker. These are flippin' cute. I only want to stitch a couple of them. I'm not I've never done black work, so this background is hella intimidating. However, this little owl guy with the witch's hat, so cute. And I really like the this pumpkin as well. It's very simple. And then the last magazine is the Cross Stitcher magazine. This is also October 2024. And I only flagged a couple of pages in this, but of the couple of pages, there's like 6 designs. So this is autumn pin cushions. So I don't necessarily know that I would finish these as pin cushions. For me, I'm like, those look like tiny pillows. Look how cute. A pillow, pin cushion. In my opinion, it could basically be the same finish. It just depends on what you put in the pillow, right? I don't know how sewing works. I'm just saying shit. But I saw this and I immediately fell in love with these blackberries, this little gray squirrel, and this freaking adorable hedgehog. Hello? So cute. Oh, and there is actually, okay, you can't, I forgot. So this design here, you can't, this one, sorry. Because of the crease on the page, you can't actually really tell what it is. It's a hand holding, I believe, a walnut on a string. So it's kind of hard to tell, and unfortunately they don't have another model that is easily viewable. So really though, what caught my eye, like this squirrel is super cute, but these blackberries, oh my god, they're so good. And this hedgehog, he's so cute. So adorable. I just also love the color palette. And then the last thing in here was, again, black work that I've never done. So who knows how this would go. And it looks like this is basically all black work. It's called the Witching Hour. Oh, I'm sorry. I did not say who the autumn pincushions were by. Designed by Sheena Rogers. Autumn Pincushions is designed by Sheena Rogers. And this is Witching Hour, and Witching Hour is designed by Maria Diaz. So this is the Witching Hour, and it's basically all black work. Like, holy cow. The only thing I don't think is black work is the magic, like, steam coming off of the cauldron and the goop coming out of the cauldron. Like here and up here, little swirls. Everything else is basically black work. And backstitch. I personally love it. I love the designs that you can get, like, do with the black work. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, perhaps I was mistaken? Maybe? Okay. No, that's just the way that the stitching is. Okay, that is just the way that the stitching looks, because it must be 2 over... This is... How the hell do you stitch this? 14 count Ada. The model is 14 count Ada, and it is how many strands? Stranded cotton listed in key. 2 strands. So it's 2/1. And then the backstitch black work is 1 strand. Okay. So it's just because it is on 14 count. So all of the black, that is filled. So the pumpkin, the part of the cat, the cauldron, and this tendril, and the spider, this body of the bat, that is all cross stitch. The black work is the fancy stuff on it. But either way, no clue when I would stitch this. I just thought it was really fun. Hence buying it, and it was on sale. So at Joann's, I also got a couple of frames. I picked up this frame before I realized that my grandma had gifted me also a 5x7 frame that probably is going to work better for Robin Spring. So this was on sale, so I grabbed it at Joann's. It is literally just a very, very simple frame. Like, you literally just pull it down. There's no bottom. The sun has come out, so I apologize for any weird shadows. But so I grabbed this because I thought I might need a 5x7, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm sure I'll have other 5x7 projects that will need this, so I'm not too concerned. But then Helen D of the East Coast Stitcher, she talked about Joann's having these Bucilla embroidery hoops for display. I was like, okay, there's no way in hell that my Joann's is going to have one of these. Lo and frickin' behold, they had actually not just this one, they had 2 or 3 others, but they were the smaller ones. They were like the 4 or 3 inch sizes. And one was the hexagon hoop, which I didn't really want. So I snagged more or less the 6-inch hoop frame, and I'm so excited. This is solid. Like, do I know what I'm going to put in here? Absolutely not, but I have it for when I'm gonna put something in it. And it's nice because literally you just bam, put the hoop in. Fantastic. It's very nice. So I am very excited. This was the only 6-inch one that they had. I was hoping to find an 8-inch one, but that was probably asking for too much. So I grabbed the 6-inch one, which I will take. I'm not going to complain about grabbing a 6-inch circle hoop frame. So very excited about this as well. There is a local craft reuse store. It's called Scrap. If you are local to Southeast Michigan, it's in Ann Arbor. And Sean and I went there last weekend. I went there not really knowing what to expect. Grace, our roommate, said that that she had seen a lot of like quilting and sewing things and like other fiber arts, that there was a decent selection of vintage cross stitch stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm kind of getting into the vintage cross stitch stuff. Like I've perused enough online to kind of know what I would want to get from a vintage pattern. So Sean and I went last Saturday because I was like, I need to get out of the house. I hadn't left the house in like over 2 weeks. Anyway, and then I was like, I just want to see like what they have. And it's a cute little shop. It is definitely like a hodgepodge of craft stuff. Like, I don't want to say it's geared towards younger children. Like, they have a section that's geared towards younger children, but it literally is, if you can craft it, they have it. Like, oh, I also went because I was looking for frames, so that is part of it. And their frames were not great, but I mean, like, it's not much you can craft with frames, but they have honestly something for you. So I sat down in their little cross stitch corner and I went through 4 bins of vintage cross stitch stuff. I was hoping I might find a diamond in the, what is it, diamond in the rough? I did not. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. But what I did find was frickin' crewel embroidery. Now, had it not been for Jen of Jen's Fiberweb, I probably would have just, like, not batted an eye and I would have moved past this. However, she just finished an Avon kit for a crewel embroidery kit. I saw this and I was like, dope! I'm gonna try this! Unfortunately for me, Guinevere wants to be involved. What? Are you gonna come up here? Or are you just gonna make loud noises? Because you're kind of interrupting me. I should have opened the bag before I got too excited. I mean, I only spent $1, so I'm not heartbroken over it. Unfortunately for me, this did not come, like, I was not expecting the whole kit. Like, that was not something that I needed. I just wanted to have the pattern at the very least. So, unfortunately for me, though, this didn't have anything. What it came with was a half-started piece for what I am assuming are these blackberries. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't really do much with this because there is no floss. There's no thread in here. No yarn. Nothing. So I am left with a half-started crewel embroidery piece. But then I was like, okay, well, maybe they have the pattern. What I got is instructions on how to do specific stitches, like flat stitches, more flat stitches, satin stitches, how to do satin stitches, loop stitches, and chain stitches. So I have the how-to on how to do the specialty stitches, which is cool. I appreciate it. I was like, okay, well, maybe what I can do is I can take the pattern and, like, transfer it onto fabric. I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know that I can do that with this. So I have the strawberry pattern. I have the blackberry pattern. And I technically also have the peaches pattern. So if I'm, like, very careful, I could try to transfer these onto other fabric and just give it a shot that way. Try while I avoid, like, I would feel like I would just need to make, like, an educated guess of, like, if there is an arrow in the way, then, like, these arrows here. These arrows here for the strawberries. Like, I would have to make an educated guess on, like, where the line for the jar handle is. That sort of thing. Not the end of the world, but this isn't probably something that I'm going to pick up for a bit. I'm probably gonna, like, if this is something that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna give this a shot, it probably won't be until the fall, because this feels like a fall project. But then, as I was going through this, there were more in here. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. This does have a decently large pattern on the back. Tells you the different stitches and all of that fun stuff. So I was like, okay, this is cute. Not necessarily, like, I picked this pack up because I saw jars of fruit and I was like, jars of fruit. I didn't pick this up because I saw strawberries in a basket, which is still very cute, but I don't know. It doesn't speak to me the same way. And then there was also this one in there as well, which is very pretty. It's irises and daffodils, which are very pretty flowers, but alas, not the reason I picked it up. I wanted to do the jars of fruit. And again, I gotta be careful. This thing is falling apart. Pattern on the inside. Technically, these are all kits that included, like, it was printed on the fabric. So that is just like showing you the color coordination. And this, on this, it says got in 1972, framed 1976. So that's fun. It took this person 4 years to do this. So don't worry if you're sitting on a project that you haven't finished and started several years ago. People in the 70s also had that problem as well. So this, like I said, this was only $1. I'm not too beaten up about it. I am kind of bummed that I'm like, I should have checked to see if, like, I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't expecting to get the full kit, but I would have liked maybe a better way to get the pattern. And this just kind of told me, like, it showed me that the craft reuse doesn't really vet what they're, like, they vet what they're accepting, but they're not gonna go through a thing that says if it's a kit or not, and they're gonna, like, put, hey, this isn't the full kit. Like, that's not their responsibility. It's on the person's responsibility. Anyway, that was long-winded, but I did pick up 2 other things from scrap. This is so stupid. I saw this and I was like, oh, I need to get this for my father-in-law. Larry, my father-in-law, would love this. He is a fisher. Actually, both of Sean's parents are fishers, hobby fishers. They don't, like, they go out on their lake and they sit on the pontoon for like hours and fish. I saw this and I was like, oh, I love how colorful these fish are. I love it so much. It's and honestly, I don't know that I might even stitch all of them together. Each fish would make a fantastic little small. I probably wouldn't do that, actually. I would probably stitch it complete like this. And then I went through this, because this is Cross Quick from December '89. Easy project for cross-stitch lovers. And they have some very, very dated things in here. Like, okay, I won't lie though. Does this have a name? It's called Goosey Gardener. And it's just a bunch of geese. It's just a bunch of geese. And they're like, I love them. I probably would never stitch this, but I do have an appreciation for it. It's very, very cute. There's like some other baby stuff in here, which I was like, meh about. They did also have these Santa, like small Santas. It's called International Santas, and it looks like there is 2 types of patterns, and it tells you how to finish it as an ornament and a Christmas card, which is neat. I guess this is just International Santas, but so it's very, this Santa. I love a Santa in green. I'm realizing, who am I? Here, it might actually be easier to see this. Oh my God, I'm sorry. This one. Look at him. Look at him. Handsome lad. I love him. I love a good green Santa. So, yeah. But ultimately, I saw this and I was like, fish for Larry. I don't know what to say. And then, the last thing I picked up from Scrap is this. You know how I was like looking for a diamond in the rough? This is about as close as it came to finding a diamond in the rough. It is Stony Creek Christmas Surprise Stocking. Again, it wasn't until I started cross-stitching that I realized that there are actually a lot of really cute Christmas things. I am not a Christmas person. As I mentioned earlier, I knew more about Yule growing up than I did Christmas. Well, I guess I'm going to be insufferable about it now because this is freaking adorable. Little baby kitten coming out of presents with a giant candy cane. Like, ooh, that's so cute. Oh, God, it's so adorable. I don't know what to say. Who am I? I'll be honest. Okay, as a new stitcher, I'm like, I feel obligated to try and cross-stitch Christmas stockings for my family now. So I've been on the lookout for vintage stocking designs because I don't know. There's something about older stocking designs that are a little bit more homey. Not to say that there are bad new designs, but there's just something about the way that this kitten looks. He looks so precious. With his little gold eyes, the way he's holding the candy cane. He's like, you're gonna take me home, right? So cute. Who am I? I also really like this wreath with the ornaments. It's very cute. So that was my little adventure to Scrap. And lastly, I made a order from 123 Stitch, as well as I got my fabric of the month from BeStitchMe for February. So this is malachite. It is 28 count linen from Fiber on a Whim. I picked this up for a new start in April of all months. I am, sorry, you can kind of see through that. I guess I will just leave it folded. I am going to be using this as the fabric for my birthday start in April. I'll talk about that later. And then I also picked up this. It is 18 count vintage stormy clouds from Zweigart. Just to add to my stash, really. I like the marble effect. I think it looks cool. So what I'm going to use it for, I don't know. It was on sale, so I picked it up. And lastly, fabric of the month from BeStitchMe, 28 count cashel linen in the color Frozen Lake. Look at this blue. Look at how stunning this blue is. Do I know what I'm gonna use it for? Absolutely not. This, in my opinion, looks like fancy lady fabric, but I don't have a fancy lady yet. I have quite a few in my wish list over here somewhere, but nothing in the near future. So this is exciting to have, though. And then, okay, does this count as haul? We're gonna pretend this counts as haul. So I love using floss drops. I think I talk about floss drops every single video so far. But acrylic floss drops are expensive, and bobbins do not actually like, they can function as floss drops, but they're annoying to use as floss drops. So I've started putting off organizing my floss drop, like my floss collection in general, because I don't have a good way to store them that works for me. And then I stumbled across Charly Feathers, and I was inspired by her beautiful craft paper floss drops. I have so many books of printed cardstock paper that I was like, oh, I get it. So I decided to start making my own. It's very rudimentary because I don't have a hole punch that I could find. I know I have a hole punch. Where it is, eluding me. So for now, I use a pen to poke a hole, and then I cut it out with scissors. Is it pretty? No, I hate it, but it gets the job done. So I may have pulled out like 7 pieces of craft paper of my cardstock and cut them to size for floss drops. Do I have enough floss to use all of that? No, absolutely not. But now I don't gotta worry. Let's talk about plans, shall we? Kansas City Stitcher is having a birthday start in March. It is going to be for ColorfullySarahShop patterns. Any of her patterns. When I first started cross stitch back in November, Colorfully Sarah was one of the first cross stitch designers that I stumbled across. And I immediately bought like 3 of her patterns. So I've decided that I want to participate. I want to join the birthday start. So I am going to do pastel potions, I think. I have the pattern, and I think I have the fabric to do this. So I'm excited for that. And then outside of that, because I will definitely have another finish here soon with my mother-in-law's birthday present. And hello. Beyond that, I believe what I want to do is I want to work through the patterns that I have already bought spur of the moment when I started the hobby. Because let me tell you, starting cross stitch in November when everybody is like, oh, I'm having a sale, I'm having a Christmas sale, Black Friday sale, holiday sale. Sales. I was like, oh, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy this pattern. I'm going to buy these patterns, blah, blah, blah. So I have quite a few patterns that I bought spur of the moment. Really? I have quite a few patterns that I bought spur of the moment because I was excited to start a new hobby. And some of these patterns I've realized that I may or may not actually really want to stitch on. I just like the pattern. So I need to go through and see what patterns that I do actually really want to work on and which patterns I had just bought because I was like, oh, pretty pattern. And if I'm inspired to actually work on them or not. And then I'll determine if I am inspired, do I want to stitch them? That sounds like it could be a good video. Stay tuned. Maybe we'll talk about that in a different video. And let's wrap things up with our other category. Talking about my other hobbies. So if you were just here for the cross stitch, that's it. That's all I got. I appreciate you if you stayed and don't want to hear me yap about my other hobbies. I get it. But if you stuck around for cross stitch and you're gonna head out, I appreciate you very much. Thank you. Otherwise, if you're interested in my other hobbies, let's talk about them, shall we? So, last video I mentioned Sean and I were watching Frieren, Journey's End. And we finished last week. I am not okay. I am unwell about this anime. Oh, it's so good. If you have watched Frieren, are you okay? Because I'm not okay. I love this anime. It's like set the bar for animes. I don't know that I can watch an anime without like having Frieren be the standard. So that's unfortunate. But I really enjoyed it. And apparently season 2 is announced for next year, 2026. So that's great. That's exciting. Last weekend, this isn't hobby related, but last weekend we celebrated a couple of friends' birthdays. We went to Aubrey's for lunch with coworkers for our boss's birthday. And then Sean's cousin came over on Sunday and we hung out with her for a couple of hours and her husband, just catching up. Been a while since we'd seen them. Oh, Avowed came out. It's very fun. It's by Obsidian. So it's the same world as Pillars of Eternity, but it's first person, open world, basically think Skyrim. I realized that I can't play this for long periods of time because I get motion sick. It sucks. It's the same reason I can't play games like Raft, but I can at least play it long enough to get like a good session in. Also, Brandon Keener voices Kai, and I love that for me. His voice is like not smooth butter because it's not smooth. It's very gravelly and rough. If you know, you know. And then Marvel Rivals had their midway season update introducing Johnny Storm and The Thing. And I don't get playing The Thing. I tried for a match and I was not doing well. Go figure. Johnny is very fun. I vibe with him. Great, honestly, flying character. He's very fun. Can't aim for shit, but you know. And also, the new map not only has Blade, can't wait for him to drop, also has Ratatoskr, and I did not realize that in the Squirrel Girl comics, Ratatoskr is a girl. I fuck with that. That's dope as hell. I love Ratatoskr. I love the little squirrel. Anyway, that's the other hobbies that I am participating in. So that's all I got, really. So I hope this format works better in general. I'll see how I feel after I edit and post it, and then sit on it for a week and stew on it, and how I feel then. Because like I said at the beginning of the video, I need to not be afraid of just yapping and potentially going on tangents. Some people might not be interested in that, and that's okay. Sometimes these videos are not for you. I'm doing this for me because I like talking. And if you don't like watching people yap about cross stitch, you wouldn't be here. So thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful end to February. I hope you have a wonderful beginning to March. Spring is almost here for us in the Northern Hemisphere. We just got to hang out for a couple more weeks, and hopefully it starts getting warmer. Take care, y'all.